Yeah, so wonderful to spend time on a Saturday afternoon with such like-minded people. There are a lot of people that I know who are there, amongst the names. I think both before and after are my partner agencies. So I feel really happy. So wonderful to be here. Um, this is the National Stock Exchange, which is the India's premier stock exchange. We are NSE Foundation, which is a a Section 8 company that has been incorporated to run the CSR activities of the NSE group companies. So our journey has been a series of leadership roles, whether it was in electronic trading and other things. Just a brief overview, because not many people know about NSE, just two slides on NSE and the global leadership that we have amongst many of the product categories that we represent. And that's a proud moment for India. Reaching the unreached. In the short span of we started in 2014. So we are a very young fledgling entrant into the CSR space. But in this short span of time, we have, I think today we represent almost about 11 lakh individuals whose life we have touched directly across 13 states, 75 plus projects. It's slightly more as of today. It's around, I think, 92 and 75 rural districts, 6,000 villages, aspirational districts, almost five aspirational districts. So we can see the length and breadth of our program intervention. Very small team of extremely committed young raring to go individuals who have made all this happen, and an extremely committed set of very senior individuals and board members who have set the tone of really going to the rural districts and impacting the lives of really people who are out of the radar. Many of the areas that we are working in, Karauli, Ramanathapuram, Nandurbar. Nandurbar, of course, we have a lot more other NGOs whom we work with, Khifri. So there are really no NGOs, no corporates, not too many people of footfalls in these areas. So I think we have gone the last mile to reach the unreached. When we look at the key pillars of change, yes, it is a collaborative effort where we have NGOs, we have communities, we have the corporate social responsibility, we have other partners who work with us, who help us in the sense of technical advice, guidance, and other things. Work very closely with the government. We realized one thing: if we need to achieve scale, if we really need to go to those who have fallen through the cracks, it is that we need to work with the government, because the people who access the government services are those who do not have access to private, who cannot afford the private educational or health sector. So it's very important that we also work with the government on the soft services. So this is what we look for when we look at the key pillars of change, that we have so many stakeholders who really come together. We also realize that we need to converge our efforts, we need to converge the resources and collaborate. And I'm happy to say that across all our program, we have very organic meetings that are held amongst NGOs. So sometimes when I don't attend the meetings, they call me and say, hey, you haven't come on the meeting. We are having a meeting today. It's a monthly meeting. And it's a joy to see that where we have always found people trying to, always represent themselves, here they are representing about 20 organizations who are all coming on a platform. They go to the collectorate meetings all together and they represent as one large family. And I think that is a fundamental change, because that's where the convergence and collaboration really happens. And that's where the efficiencies in terms of scale, in terms of human resources, sharing of resources and all this happens. So you share an office space, you share your Shikshan Mitras, you share the wash animators who go to the school. So there's a lot of learning and collaboration that happens. We also have a very unique oversight, a monthly, quarterly, and an annual review. This is actually on-field visits. So we have various agencies, along with, of course, we also go to the sites, we also go to the field, and it's a collaborative format where we say, how do we strengthen the program? How do we look at the program in a different light and really see how can we help you to strengthen it? So right from the time of program design to the time that you see where are the indicators, what is the output, and then how does that impact the outcome, and finally what's the impact that is there, and try to get even a field field executive, a field worker, a shikshan mitra to look at it in that larger light. So I think that is where we have a very unique feature of having agencies onboarded along with the CSR team to really overlook and to look at all these NGOs, look at all these programs in a very concentrated and concerted manner. The education model, since we're speaking of education today, the education model is the Shikshan Mitra model. So who is the Shikshan Mitra? This is a person from the community who is maybe a 12th, maybe a graduate, maybe a postgraduate, maybe a B.Ed, whoever we can get who is trainable. And this person is the one who acts as a nodal, um, you know, nodal teacher, nodal facilitator who interacts with the community, with the school, with the parents, and with the children. So she or he is a friend, a Shikshan Mitra. And this person is the one whom we try to invest our maximum efforts on. The larger goal that he or she transitions out of this role of a Shikshan Mitra to really take up other activities within the community, maybe once we exit. And for us, that's a way of looking at sustainability. Our model is very simple. We need to teach the children who are in the primary sections. So, what do we need to teach them? They need to fundamentally learn how to read and how to write. All of us who may be postgraduate or doctorates or so many other qualifications, I'm sure all of us can recall. We all know to read and we know to write. But if I were to ask somebody, do you remember the statistics that you did in your ninth standard? Do you remember the set theory that you did in your eighth standard? I think very few of us would be able to recall unless we have children who are in the secondary and we are teaching them. But we all know the nursery rhymes. We all know all the little stories that we learned to write. We all know that the first essay we wrote was about I or me or my name and all these sort of things. So the level from from 5 years to 12 years is the most impactful level, and it gives people functional literacy. Maybe they will transition to the secondary, we hope they do. Maybe they will become graduates, and we hope they do. But in the meanwhile, we give them the foundational literacy that will allow them some standard in their life, in their living, and their access to information, which we think is the most important. Because if a person has access to information, he or she is able to access his bank account, know how understands something what he sees on TV, understands something about health, or something about livelihood, or his financial system, his financial literacy, his legal literacy. I think that person is able to have a life and a living wherever he may be. Our response to COVID, I was asked to specifically focus on this. That what did we do? Because I know that somebody else had also mentioned that it really hit us unawares. What we really did was, in the first instance, we reached out to all our NGOs. I must say, and it is a commendation to the work that they do, that right in the month of February, they came back to us saying that, look, something is happening. A lot of people are coming home. We need to teach these people about COVID. Our work in sanitation, in health, and health had helped us to roll out this entire wash program quite seamlessly. So this hand washing, health and hygiene was done, quite evenly in all the communities. And then came the issue of education. Now we went into summer holidays and then the schools closed. They just refused to open. We thought they'll open in August, then in September, then in November, and it just went on. So way back in May, we realized that there could be
10 minutes.
extended. Yeah, thank you. We realized that there could be extended lockdowns, and we said, fine, let's look at the strategy and planning for NGOs. You need to focus on what is your strategy going into the next year. We feel there will be issues because of COVID. We help them strategize, we help them plan, we help them work at an organizational level. Capacity building. We realized that this was the time that we could reach out to every Shikshan Mitra, every partner, because people had become very tech savvy. There were intergenerational links with the community and the elder care segment that we support. Health and wash were one of the focus areas that we were able to identify and carve out in a very large way. Reaching the unreached through community radios and other methods. App-based learning, technology, and tabs, which now the Shikshan Mitras had become very adept in using, were some of the ways that we really we implemented on ground. One of the things is that a combination of home visits with worksheet and apps was what we found most successful. There was an app based followed with a call that reached more than 70,000 students in Ramanathapuram. We work in ashram schools, we work in KGBVs across Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. So we recruited extra Shikshan Mitras in Rajasthan to really go to the communities where the girls were. Again, in terms of working with the government, large scale webinars. So it's not just a webinar, it's a series of modules which we used to train the teachers or hostel wardens and other functionaries. And some pictures. Education webinars, again with all the Shikshan Mitras, really
12 minutes.
Really reinventing education in times of COVID. Some of the subjects, how do you reimagine rural education? How do you reach out? How about the community? So a whole lot of, and here you can see the Shikshan Mitras. This is the one that really makes me happy, this slide. Yeah. Of course, this all companies have done, a lot of us have contributed, but just thought I'll put this. And one focus is how do we work with all the NGOs? So here's what I'm talking about, convergence, when a large number of NGOs come together to do a response, to do a drive. And I think that is really where we have succeeded in trying to collaborate, in trying to get people together and work together, and really, in some ways, identify that these have been, there may be gaps, there may be issues, and try to look ahead and work at helping others, helping NGOs specifically, to capacity build them, to prepare for the future. So over to the panel and other members and participants, free to answer questions. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the panel?
So good work, and thank you so much. Was trying to understand, since this is NSC Foundation, Rima, how does the employees or some of the strengths of the companies and the people you work with out there, how does that come into play here? And given that you work so much with technology and several other synergies you showed, wanted to understand a little bit more of the company contribution and people contribution bit.
So frankly, we are a very small company. We are not a very large company. We don't have a huge footfall and a head count. But then we do have our regional offices. We have a number of other smaller centers. So wherever we can, we get the employees to visit the programs. They contribute in terms of their time. It could be an educational program where they go from Delhi to one of the Rajasthan programs, and they spend the day with the children. They teach them something. It could be unique, something unique. There are also, the employee engagement is different in terms of whether it is immersive and not so immersive. Our business model is designed to not allow people to really be away from their desks for too long a time. That's a business model that we have.
Right.
Being a day-to-day, minute-to-minute, second-to-second business that we run, it's not possible to have a very immersive model. Otherwise, we have a super immersive model where people take a break of 6 months and they go away, or 1 month.
You have that.
It's not possible because we need to train people to really handle that. So what we have done is a soft immersive type of employee engagement where people, again, we have two segments. One is actual on-ground field visits where you go, you see the NGO, you see the project, feel proud what you're doing, and try to give your skill sets on that day, 2 days, whatever it is. The other is where there is a lot of awareness that would need to be done. So you invite educational NGOs, you invite health NGOs, you invite environment NGOs, health NGOs to talk to the employees, have NGO melas, and so immersive and the not so immersive way of really taking employee engagement forward. Yeah.
Thank you.
But just one more thing I wanted to add to that, because you asked about tech. Yes, you're right. We are a tech-focused company. Our entire business is technology. But really, when we look at the educational model, what we thought right in the beginning is there's this huge debate. Should it be tech or should it be the actual brick, mortar, and person? What we found, and I think our model helped us during COVID, is that we had the Shikshan Mitra model right from 2014.
Okay.
So now during COVID, we already had somebody embedded in the community. So that really helped. But then introducing app-based learning, technology, algorithm-based learning is something that we're trying in little, starts here and there and really seeing, but then scale is across the state, across the district. So really, how do we take it to that scale? How do we create that momentum, and how do we create a common curriculum with people being able to access it, because they come from various languages? So there are conversations that are happening, and we are looking into a lot of those aspects as well. So how do you have a common curriculum? If you're in Maharashtra, you access it in Marathi. Somebody is in West Bengal, they see it in Bengali. And the competencies are as per the age or the class. So that's really a challenge.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Dipali, do you have any further questions?
The question has been answered. Just a follow on that one. In terms of non-immersive model that you have, how does it work later on? Some volunteer went and did a good job, and people will still want to come back to you, right? But it was one-off event. So how do you handle that?
No, what I meant by a non-immersive model is that there are companies that allow their employees to go for a week, go for 2 weeks, go for 3 weeks. No, there are companies who sponsor their employees to go offsite and work in communities. So ours is not that model. We can at best allow employees to go on a Saturday or a Sunday, but that can be factored in over a period of months. So in the sense, they can go for 3 months, they can go for 4 months. So it is a Saturday or something that they take off, a group of them go. So I call it a non-immersive model because they select one topic which they go and they convey. It could be something on wash, it could be something on hygiene, it could be just something to, if they go to maybe one of the ashram shalas, they talk to the girls. The girls look at leadership and role models in the employees who have come there. So there's somebody who's educated. Where does she work? How did you reach there? How can I become like you? So there are different ways of doing it. So we have structured something that can be done as a 1-day program or max 2-day program. But then the awareness, we feel, again, not all employees are at the same level of you can say emotional or social quotient, if I can use that word. So the awareness is where you really make them as good citizens. They have to be aware of the environment. If somebody is in Bombay, you need to know about garbage. You need to know about the environment. You need to know how you are a responsible citizen. So I think that is the awareness part of it, which we feel is a very important aspect of employee engagement. And then we call the NGOs or somebody to the company. So the NGOs are also able to talk about their work with the employees, and we have other programs as well.